Want to unlock one of the biggest shortcuts in music theory? Relative major and minor keys are everywhere, whether it's in classical, jazz, pop, you name it. And once you understand how they work, you'll start seeing connections that you never noticed before. In this guide, I'll not only show you how to instantly figure out any relative key, but also why it matters and how to hear it in the music that you play or listen to. So let's start with the basics. Every major scale that sounds like this has a relative minor that sounds like this. So for every major, there's a minor. For every minor, there's a major. And we call them relatives because they use the exact same notes. So for example, C major has no sharps or flats. Its relative A minor will also by default use no sharps or flats. So how do you figure out relatives? There are two ways you can do it. One is if you're trying to figure out the relative minor from a major scale, you can just go to the sixth note of that scale. So for example, say you're trying to figure out the relative of C major, you just go to the sixth note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that brings you to A. So the relative minor of C major is A minor. Or another trick, which I honestly think is easier, is to just go down 3 half steps. So from C, you'd go down 3 half steps, 1, 2, 3, that brings you to A minor. And that makes it a little bit easier figuring it out the other way around, because if you have a minor key wanting to figure out the relative major, you just go up 3 half steps, and that'll bring you to that relative major. I'll show you a couple quick examples of this. Say you have your G major scale, uses F sharp, and you want to figure out the relative minor, you just go down 3 half steps. So the relative will be E minor, which means it will also use F sharp, and the rest will just be naturals. Or take F major, which has B flat in it. Relative minor, 1, 2, 3, D minor, also uses B flat. Now this isn't just for trivia, it changes how you hear and play music. So let me show you something. Here's some improv in one key. You can probably guess it's in C major. Now I'm going to use the same set of notes, but now what does it sound like? That's the power of relative major and minor keys. We can change from one mood or vibe to another while still staying within the same sound universe. So if we're using the same notes, why do they sound different? And the answer is what we call the tonal center, or the note that we consider home base. So if we're doing something in C major, then C sounds like our arrival point. But if we play something in A minor, A sounds like the home base. Now, how do we hear the difference between the two aside from just this general major sounds happy and minor sounds sad? There's got to be something more specific, and there is, and that's in the leading tone and the 5 chord or the 7 chord that leads to our tonic home base. For example, if we're in C major, we have our leading tone leading to the tonic, C in this case. But now if we're in A minor, leading tone leading us to the tonic. But did you notice here that I actually used a note outside of the key? I used a G sharp, which technically isn't white keys, right? Since we're in A minor leading to the tonic. And that's because in minor we have to make some slight adjustments in order to get to that satisfying arrival point. And I cover that right here in this video. All 3 versions of minor, natural, harmonic, and melodic, why we use them, how we use them, musical examples, the whole thing. Check it out, and I'll see you there.